Hello, chemistry crew. It's Kara Lenorovitz, and welcome to our 15th week of segment 2, rounding the corner towards our finish line. Let's go ahead and jump right in. In terms of housekeeping, you know you should be accessing the weekly learning plan for additional guidance about what you're working on, as well as resources beyond the Canvas curriculum that might be helpful to you. In terms of Thursday synchronous sessions, this week we will not have our regular synchronous session, and that is because you are going to be having your Module 8 DBA. As we have in the past, this DBA is going to be conducted in small group conversations. You can reserve that time using the Canvas calendar. Those times are going to happen between 9:30 and noon. So you can find a half-hour slot in there that will work best for you. We will resume our regular synchronous sessions next Thursday, May 20th, as we round out some of the last of the things that we're doing for class at our usual time. In terms of office hours, they will happen as they regularly do on Tuesday morning from 8:30 to 10:30, and again on Wednesday afternoon from 1 to 3. If you'd like to check in or have questions, please sign up on the Canvas calendar. I'm more than happy to meet and help you. In terms of upcoming stuff, you know we are wrapping up the end of our very last module right now. So you're going to be doing the last work for Module 8 right now. Do know and do remember that if you have past due work, those pieces have started to be replaced with zeros if they are missing from you. Remember that a 0 means that you can and should go back to that work and give it your attention. You can still turn it in as long as it comes in before the deadlines. Those deadlines for modules 5, 6, and 7 are May 21st. So you need to make sure if you have any eligible work coming in for still being assessed, that it's in by May 21st. That way I have an opportunity to assess it and get it back to you, hopefully in time for you to use it as a resource as you are taking your segment 2 exam. The next deadline is the following Friday, May 28th, and that will apply for any work from Module 8 through to the end of the semester. So that will include the Module 8 exam. That will also include your Segment 2 exam. If you have been working on pace, these deadlines should not be a challenge for you to meet at all. If you are well behind pace, these are things you definitely want to make sure you're paying careful attention to. All right, sometimes it's helpful to see this in a slightly different form. So here's where we are, May 10th. Literally this week and 2 weeks to follow, and then we are wrapping up our year together. You've been on a great journey together, and you want to make sure you're finishing up strong. So this week, coming on Thursday, you'll have your Module 8 DBA. Next week, we'll be back to a regular synchronous session, and please pay attention again, that deadline for Module 5, 6, and 7 work is Friday the 21st. So that's next Friday. The following week, your Segment 2 exam will become available on May 24th, and it, along with any other Module 8 work that's still outstanding, will be due for you on May 28th. So a great goal to meet, a very achievable goal. It also means that you're going to be heading into Memorial Day weekend without having to worry about chemistry work. So let's take a look at this week's weekly learning plan, as well as our homepage and some of the resources that are there. And before we do that, I'll give you the quick overview of what you're working on this week. The last bit of new content in 8.05 is going to be on acid and base calculations. You've at this point learned about the pH scale and what we mean by an acid and what we mean by a base. You've also learned about acid-base neutralization reactions. In this portion of the module, you're going to be learning about how to determine the pH of a substance based on the concentration of hydrogen ions, also sometimes called hydronium ions, and hydroxide ions. So you're going to be doing some calculations here. They are log-based calculations, and they are based on the concentration of hydrogen ions, molar concentration, or the molar concentration of hydroxide ions. So you, again, are going to be using log-based calculations. You want to make sure you're using a scientific calculator here. You're going to be working with these 3 different equations to figure out either the concentration of ions in a particular situation, or the pH, or the pOH, which is less commonly used. You're doing that, taking a quiz on that, and then reviewing Module 8. You're going to be ready for your Module 8 discussion on Thursday. And in the interim, depending on where you are, you want to use this time to catch up on any missing or late work. If you're on pace, you can use this opportunity to start to put together for yourself a review guide. Go ahead and locate all of your work from Segment 2. Make sure you're finding all of your notes and quizzes and tests starting to organize those in chronological order so that you're ready to do a substantive review. Now let's take a look at our website and the weekly learning plan. All right, as usual, there is a short introduction at the beginning of the weekly learning plan. You will see the new learning objectives. There are only 2 additional ones that are coming in. Otherwise, you are reviewing all of the learning objectives from Module 8 as you get ready for our DBA. Communication reminders and pacing, again, there are those 2 deadlines that we just talked about. And you have 2 new jobs this week. The first one is asset and base calculation. You're going to close read and interact with the content within the Canvas curriculum. Make sure you're taking good notes for yourself. I've also included a couple of optional videos for you. It's often helpful, especially with this content, to get another perspective. So make sure you check some of these out for yourself. If it's been a while since you've used logarithms, I encourage you especially to watch this last one just for some reviews on how to do that. You're going to take the quiz, and then you're also going to get yourself ready for your Module 8 discussion-based assessment. So you want to make sure you are attending and actively participating in your DBA on Thursday, May 13th. You're going to click here to learn more about the DBA and to review the schedule. Please do make sure you're preparing your responses to those questions in advance. There are some calculations and they're harder questions to answer just on the fly, so you want to be ready for those. Once you have completed the DBA and turned in your reflection, that will be your entry ticket to the Module 8 exam. You should have that turned in on Thursday so that on Monday morning of next week, you have access to the exam as soon as you are ready for it. So you're going to be turning in that reflection. Again, reminder that we're not going to have our synchronous session this week because of the DBA. I do just want to pause for a moment and show you where you can access information about the DBA, whether you've scheduled your appointment or not. So remember that front page, you're going to see a link there that says learn more about your upcoming Module 8 DBA here. You can also access it from the Modules tab, and you can also access it from our weekly learning plan. When you go there, you will see, as you have in the past, an overview of what to expect. Again, this one will be a small group conversation. For those of you who were at class in our last class meeting, you have already scheduled your appointment time. So if you see your name on this schedule, it means you have made that reservation already. If you don't see your name on this schedule yet, it means you need to make sure that you are making a reservation during one of these 4 different time slots. If there are empty lines here, it means there are spaces still available. Below that as well, you're going to see under what to expect the questions that we will discuss. Please make sure you're preparing your answers to these questions. When you turn in your reflection, in addition to the reflection questions, you're going to turn in a representation of your answers to those questions. So helpful to have them ready in time so you can participate well and so that it's easier when you're putting your reflection together. The learning objectives for that DBA are also listed there so that you know exactly what we're going to be covering. For those of you who need to schedule, a reminder that you can go to the Canvas calendar. Once you are here for chemistry, you can click on Find Appointment. Make sure you're selecting our class, click Submit. And then if you scroll down and look on Thursday the 13th, you can see that there are still appointment slots available at 9:30, at 10, 11, and at 11:30. So please make sure you're reserving that appointment time if you haven't already. I'm also going to ask if you are reserving and you were not in class the other day, that you just quickly fill out this short survey so that I have your appointment registered on my end as well. All right, let's go back to the weekly learning plan. Again, you'll see the office hours there, other helpful resources, preview of upcoming work where there's not much left, and opportunities. So make sure you're using that resource. Let's go back and take a look at a recap. So again, this week, 2 main jobs, complete 8.05. Sorry, the directions there are incorrect. You're going to actually be doing 8.05 and taking the quiz. And 8.07, you're going to be scheduling and attending your DBA on the 13th. Prepare your answers in advance. Complete and turn in your reflection, which is going to be your ticket to the exam access code. If you're behind pace, make sure you are catching up. And absolutely at any point, please feel free to reach out if you need help or if you have questions. I look forward to seeing you this week, either in office hours and also during your DBA.